so shoes. Obviously an essential part to not only your day rides, but overnighters and extended bike packing trips. And if you're anything like me and like to be clipped in, well, a comfortable all-day option that is well balanced for walking, but also cycling is kind of tough to find. I've tested a lot of shoes, and most of them recently have been coming with the BOA closure system or some similar ratchet-like system. But in this review, we're gonna go back to the basics with lace-ups, with the Canyon SPD, which is indeed a well-balanced bike shoe. Let's jump into it. Before we jump into it, I just want to mention that this video is partially supported by Salsa Cycles. The Salsa Rangefinder is an excellent bike for someone just starting to mountain bike. The geometry is deliberately not XC race, but trail riding inspired, which instills confidence and is simply more fun. It's available in 29er or 27.5 plus wheel sizes and has the most accessible pricing in Salsa's mountain bike range. So to learn more, you can click on this card right here. You can also find a link in the description below. The Izumi Canyon SPD shoe is designed to be a cycling shoe that actually doesn't really look like a cycling shoe, and I really appreciate that. So I have an 11.5 US shoe size, so I went with a 46, and I was pleased with the fit. I also actually fit the X-Alp Summit shoe in a 46, so it was kind of an easy decision. However, Izumi's website does say that these shoes do fit small, but I actually found them to be true to size. So I didn't actually use any aftermarket insoles for the first time in a while, which usually helps me with additional comfort, but I wanted to try without this time, and I actually didn't really notice. That said, if you are going to be using an aftermarket insole, they do tend to take up a little bit more space, so keep that in mind. The Canyon is built from a supportive but very lightweight upper with minimal seams. The front panel actually almost looks welded into the rear panel, giving it a nice clean look, and I didn't notice any chafing or irritation when actually wearing the shoe. It also has 3 mesh panels on the upper part of the shoe. You've got 2 on the side and 1 towards the toe. These panels were really handy when I was out on a hot ride, allowing the shoe to breathe really well and drive faster than any other shoe that I've used in recent memory. But that also means more cool air can enter. So if you are cycling in cooler temperatures, you might notice this, but I found it to be much more positive than negative. That being said, this is definitely a summer shoe. The backside of the shoe has a nice padded and supportive heel cup, keeping my heel bone locked in and my Achilles comfortable. The shoe also comes with EVA foam, which is commonly found in running shoes, as it provides a nice cushion for impacts. But I found it to be a great addition to the Coyote, and despite it not being super noticeable right off the bat, after returning to a shoe without EVA foam for a few rides, I realized that EVA adds a little bit more comfort when walking or just simply hanging out at camp. All right, so this nylon shank here provides some surprisingly good amount of pedal transfer, and it still allows excellent walkability, and there is enough toe flex here to even grip some of the most steepest hike bikes, so that was appreciated. Izumi continues their theme by incorporating running technology in their cycling shoes. The outsole here is made from a carbon rubber, which helps keep the sole intact but remains grippy. And I found that the lug pattern actually grips well, especially down when I was walking down some wet sandstone on the Hey Sloppy Joe Safari a few months ago. Plus, the cleat cutout here is positioned really nicely for all cleat positions. As I mentioned in past shoe reviews, I moved my cleat all the way to the back to just reduce that Achilles movement, and the cleat is well recessed to avoid any cleat clanking. The shoe secures to the foot with laces. Yep, good old laces, an all-forgotten component in cycling shoes. While they do a pretty good job of securing the shoe, I don't think they can tighten down the shoe as snugly as, say, a BOA closure system does, and it certainly can't do so on the fly like a BOA closure system does. But the laces do provide a solid fit, and when you need to tighten them up a little bit more, all you need to do is untie and tighten them down like an everyday shoe. I was never actually annoyed by this, despite it taking a bit more time to tighten down than other shoes out there. Finally, the shoe comes with a little lace lock, which I often forgot to use as it can kind of get stuck underneath the laces, but it's a good idea as it's intended to keep the laces out of your drivetrain. All right, I got these shoes in March and I've pedaled 550 plus miles over several bike packing trips, day rides, and 1 race on some local trails here. The shoes have done an excellent job of holding up to the elements. They have been fully submerged in water many times, dried up fast, and maintained their shape, size, and integrity. So while the toe of the shoe has undoubtedly seen some abuse, the upper is in pretty good shape considering its lightweight nature. But I have noticed a bit of fading on the shoes. The outsole is also in pretty good shape, with the tread showing no real signs of too much wear and tear considering the age of the shoes. And considering some of the hike-a-bike these shoes have seen, I'm pleased with how the outsole has held up. The heel padding is also in great shape and has a lot of life left to it, and the lack of unwanted smell of this shoe is a good indicator of its breathability, as I typically have some stinky feet after my bike packing trips, especially trips with scorching heat. The laces still look great. They're holding up great. They faded a little bit, but if you say want a more subtle look, or if you break a lace, Pearl Izumi actually sends the shoe with black laces in the case that you want to throw black laces on. Finally, just talking about the weight, they're not overly heavy either, which is really, really nice, especially when you find yourself hiking quite a bit. They're coming in at 934 grams, or just over 2 pounds, with cleats on them and a bunch of dirt. Overall, a lot of what I've been looking for in a shoe recently does not look or feel like a cycling shoe. And cycling shoes have evolved to look either racy or kind of ugly. I want a no-frills shoe that looks good, can withstand the elements, and does not break the bank. And I think that the Pearl Izumi Canyon SPD has provided that so far. All right, so the SPD version is available in black urban sage or dark olive phantom for the men, and there is a non-SPD version in the same colors. The women's SPD version is offered in some fun colors like wild violet, pale pine, and phantom smoke gray. There's also a flat shoe version in women's in wet weather phantom. All versions are priced at $125 USD. So what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like what you saw in this video and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and consider joining the Bikepacking Collective. Support from our members helps sustain this channel and everything we do at BIKEPACKING.com. The collective has a lot of perks, including the twice annual bikepacking journal. So for more details, you can click on the card in the top right corner, or also find a link in the description below. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, paddle further.